Welcome to Inside Out with Kris, a podcast where there are no limits or surface level conversations. I'm your host, Kris Burns, a personal development coach on a mission to empower women to move the needle in all areas of their lives. Each week we dive into deep, thought-provoking conversations with inspiring guests. We're talking deep truths, raw experiences, and dropping game-changing takeaways to help you break free of the BS holding you back. Let's transform you from the inside out.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Who Me, the podcast. We have got Kris Burns back in the studio again for another episode of our relationship and parenting series. And this topic I'm really excited to dive deep on because I actually get these questions all the time. And it is all about navigating co-parenting, communication and boundaries with our ex-partners. Hi, babe.
Hi, babe.
Hi for having me. I'm so excited to dive into this topic. I am not separated, so I am in a healthy, happy marriage. And I was raised by a single mama who did this dance with my father. So I had blended families and things growing up. So this is where I'm sort of going to be drawing on some different things. I'm also a stepmama. So for anyone listening, that's a bit on me. But yeah, all of this conversation and this discussion is just about around me and Davina's experiences, and we both have huge polarities in our lives, and it's so perspective. Yeah, different. It's like from all angles, which is interesting. Yeah, I want you guys to listen to this like you feel like you're sitting down with girlfriends, and we're all just having a chat. It's an open conversation on the table. Yeah. And again, like there's never any judgment from our perspectives where we're coming from as well. It's like, this is what we've been through. This is what we know to be truth. Our truths. Yeah. Yeah. And hopefully you can have something land or learn something new. Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess the whole co-parenting thing, when I first went through my separation with Mila's dad, it was a lot. Like, it was a lot. And I think it can be really easy to let your ego get the best of you, right? And you're like, this person, like there can be so much resentment, like built up resentment and stuff within the relationship that when, things kind of come to a head, usually, I mean, if you are that 1% who had a really beautiful amicable breakup, that's amazing. So happy for you. But Gwyneth Paltrow, that's conscious uncoupling, she was one of the first that has created this term, right? Yes. It's like, good for you guys. Absolutely. And great for the kids. Yeah. But for a majority of the people, it's not so pretty. Myself included. Like, when my mom and dad separated, like, I actually can barely remember my childhood because their separation was so traumatic for me. And we went through so much as a family. There's a lot of years like I actually don't remember because I was just like devastated. Yeah. So yeah, like it's when I thought about what a potential separation would do to my family, I was really conscious that I did not want Mila to go through what I went through. Evidence. Yeah, totally. And I was like, no matter what, I want to try and make this not as ugly as what I've seen. So thankfully, like, I had that awareness and that intention anyway, but it didn't stop, like, all the triggers and the things that come up when you do uncouple or separate. But what we figured out pretty quickly is that, look, things might not be the best between us, but we don't love anyone else the way we love our child, and to see her go through pain would literally, tear us apart. So our journey, luckily, has been hard, totally, and heartbreaking and sad. But also we've been able to now come to a place to be really great at co-parenting, really great at communication. Like, we actually communicate better now than we ever have in our whole relationship. We are nicer to each other. We see each other more. Like, we not see each other as in like actually physically spend time with each other. We do that, but he sees me for me. Yeah. I don't have to put on a mask anymore, and I'm not afraid to say things like what's actually on my mind. Whereas in my relationship, I was like always, either I would bite my tongue and just become resentful because I wasn't like communicating, or I was too afraid to say how I really felt in case, I don't know, you're not accepted or something or whatever. So there can be some really, really great outcomes when it comes to separation, especially if you're in a relationship that you are not happy with and your needs aren't being met and you don't feel safe or all of the things. Co-parenting doesn't have to be super hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I do. I mentioned in the episode earlier, and if you haven't listened to that, go back and listen to that one because there's a lot there that I won't repeat. But one of the things was around my relationship with my dad and my family dynamics, similar to yours. It was quite toxic in their separation. And by toxic, I mean my dad was awful in terms of how he spoke about my mum. And now as an adult woman, I do not have a relationship with my father because of how he treated their divorce when I was a child. My children do not have a relationship with their grandfather and they won't. And how it ended was exactly the way that he spoke to my mum. He spoke to me in some pretty nasty ways, right? And I changed the narrative a long time ago on what family means to me. I have an incredible man that's my stepfather that I have had the pleasure of just having in my life. He's just amazing. And my kids have a grandfather that shows up for them and is really present. And I can forgive my dad, right? I can forgive him for doing the best with the tools he had at that time. But there were so many times as even a teenager where I was communicating, not to the best of my ability, but again, teenager meaning I was a child, telling him not to do the thing, stop talking about her in this way. It's impacting me, but the behavior didn't change. So the relationship with him was lost. It's gone because of that. So if you're entering a phase of your co-parenting relationship where there is toxicity, and toxicity is your pain, is your trauma, it is your triggers, they are your wounds, they are not your child's wounds. Don't fucking do the work and start there and heal your things, or just be quiet. Just really, really simple way to stop creating problems is to stop talking about them, right? I think setting boundaries is really, really important at the start. Like, even if the other person is not on board, let's say like you're getting lengthy, mean text messages, or they're not speaking very nicely to you in front of your child at drop-offs and pickups, and there's like this level of like, I hate you and resentment happening. Don't just set the boundaries with the expectation that they're just going to show up and meet these boundaries. They didn't meet them in your relationship, so they're probably not going to meet them now when they're cranky with you. Set them for yourself to be like, okay, I only communicate on text and I only communicate when it's around my child's needs. It's never about I feel, or when you do this, I feel. I think in co-parenting, you lose that privilege. You don't have that. That's not up to you how you, that your feelings aren't warranted to them. Just if saying that correctly. You can't ask them to change their behaviors or change who they are unless it's around your child, I believe. And that's not for all circumstances. This is just for the parents that are newly separated. They're not being very nice to each other. Perhaps they're sending mean messages or, having nasty phone calls over little things like, I don't know, lying about something or whatever the situation is. Just be clear with yourself. Your needs need to be met, and they're only your needs, like for you, not for anyone else. And make it about the kids. Like, it's not about you.
Totally. Yeah, even like we would really make sure that even if we were in a place where we weren't like seeing eye to eye, Mila would not know about it. Like, we'd do a drop off and be like, bye babe, love you, and like give her a kiss, and she'd run into daddy's car, and then we'd like turn around and like get back in the car, but she would never know. And like, I always tried to, like, something that I very much dealt with was like my parents always having something to say about one another too. So I never want to say anything about like her dad or anything about our situation in front of her, because one, she's a fucking parrot. She's going to repeat it. And that's the last thing we need is like for her to say some stuff. She's already done a couple of things like where, I'll say something, then, I'll get a text message and they'll be like, did you mention this? And I'm like, oh, shit, she said something. So you kind of know, like they will go on and repeat, but also they will remember if it's something nasty, you don't want that image of you saying something like that to be in their mind either. So just be careful about your language. But it'll even go so far to the point that I'll be like, oh, do you want to draw daddy a picture or this? So when he picks you up, you can see it. Like, just making sure that I try and include daddy talk as much as I can while we're together. So she kind of there's always a little bit of a link there. And I know that might not be possible for everyone, but I know it used to be really triggering for me if she spoke about her dad while she was with me. And I would be like, oh, this hurts. And like, she would say things like, oh, I miss my daddy. I want to go to my daddy's. And I'm like, oh, this is so fucking heartbreaking. But honestly, ladies, like the more work that you can do on yourself and just help yourself with your nervous system and just realize like, where is this pain coming from? Is it because I'm feeling like I'm not a good mom? Is it because I'm feeling like I'm not worthy? Do I miss them? Like, so just go deep into like what these triggers mean for you. And as soon as you can acknowledge them, because sometimes, honestly, in most cases, it will be, I do not feel worthy.
Yeah.
Like most of the time you don't miss them. You don't miss their bullshit. Like you're actually like, that's the one thing. Like it's like, yes, I miss us all being together and all the really good memories and all that kind of stuff. But I'm undeniably happier in my life now. I very literally, wow. I very rarely have like bad, uncomfortable days.
I love that.
Because I just don't.
Love that.
You know, because I'm in alignment, you know, and you can tell when you're in alignment and when you're not in alignment because life feels very fucking different. So being able to get clear on what was happening inside and what these emotions actually were and actually bringing awareness and the right language to your feelings and your physical reactions actually can make the world of difference, because sometimes you can think like, God, I miss him. Like, I'm so lonely or blah, blah, blah. And then you're like, no, actually, that's not what I'm feeling. When I actually go deep into it, I am worried, like it's a rejection wound or it's an abandonment wound that's popping up for me. I actually don't want to be in a relationship. I really do value my own free time or spare time. So I guess the deeper you can go into yourself in this time of healing, the less triggered you'll be when things pop up, when they say like, I miss daddy, or can I draw this for daddy, or this is for daddy's house, and you're not going to be like, fuck, I feel like I'm getting chased by a fucking bear, you know? And soon it's just going to be second nature where you're like, oh, draw this can be for daddy's house and this can be for mummy's house. And you can talk about the separation more, because that was one thing that I found really difficult, is actually talking about it. At the beginning, she'd be like, where's daddy? Where's daddy? And I'm like, he's working late. That was my thing. Like, because we actually separated when we started renovating the house. So it was kind of perfect timing, but we were in different houses. Right. So we weren't even in our family home, which actually made it better.
Yeah.
So yeah, but for like a good couple of months, I was like, daddy's working.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I had to end up having that conversation with her and was like, mummy and daddy weren't happy together. And I remember saying to her, I was like, you know, mummy and daddy used to fight lots. And there was this one time, this is hectic actually, I'm going to tell this story, but it's important that these women know, because kids remember. And this is, as soon as she said this to me, I was like, I'm never going to give her an image like this ever again. So we were renovating our house, so literally gutting it because it was like all asbestos. And like the week before we moved out, we had a fight. And I got so angry because I'd actually had an issue that day. I think it was with my mum. Like, and I was already just fucking angry. And I'm already at my wit's end at this point. Like, I was at breaking point in life in general. And then I think we just had words about something. It wasn't even anything big, but I literally could not control myself, that I was like, and I kicked a hole in the wall, which is a lot. Like, this is big. And I remember when I was younger, something happened with the wall with my dad. And I remember thinking like, fuck, like that's a lot. And like, full disclosure, my dad's a wonderful man, but like he must have been at his breaking point too. And I'm not condoning like violence or anything like that, but I could not control myself. I was like, but it didn't happen right in front of Mila, but she was around. And I just broke down and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I just did that. Thank God this house is getting demoed in like 3 days.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And then I'm like, also, do I have asbestos poisoning now? Like,
yeah.
No, it was just a lot. But I said to her, I was like, remember, babe, when mum and dad were together, we used to fight. And sometimes we didn't see eye to eye. So it's nicer that mummy and daddy don't live together anymore because we don't have to fight anymore. And she said, oh yeah, I remember when you made the hole in the wall.
That's her reference point. Yeah.
And it broke me.
Yeah.
I was like, and I'm like, oh my God. First, it made me realize like I never want to be that woman who is so overwhelmed and like, it's going to make me emotional. But like, even me now looking back to who that woman was, I'm like, oh my God, I feel so sorry for you. Like, I literally felt like I could not get out, and my only way to relieve this pain was to like act out like that.
Make me cry now.
Yeah.
We've all had a hole in the wall moment. So you know, like we've all had that in some way or another.
We did say no judgment at the beginning.
No, but
so
yeah.
It's just, I was like, oh my God. And when she said that she remembered that, because she would have been like fucking, because we've been separated for over 2.5 years now. So she would have been like 2.
Yeah.
And so for her to remember that, I'm like, that's big. And it just made me think, I am never going to give her a traumatic like experience. And like, we talk about the whole thing, and I'm like, you know, that was just a really bad day, Mum. We had a really bad day that day. And I don't want you to think that it was always like that, because we did have a great time as a family. But sometimes we don't just always get along. And being able to just be transparent with her actually helped me heal so much more as well. So I think not hiding it from her, like hiding things and saying that he's working and all that kind of stuff, made it feel a lot worse.
Yeah. So I can resonate with that. And not specifically kick the hole in the wall, but there's been lots of moments over the years. For a moment there, I had 2 toddlers and teenagers, and I'm now sort of coming out the other side of that season where my son's in his first year of kindergarten and my daughter Lola is 5 in June. Like they're just at this better age, they're that little bit bigger, but now I've got a 14-year-old, 12-year-old, a 5.5-year-old and a 4-year-old. And there was something recently where it was just a morning where it felt like they all just had such big emotions. And my son is particularly difficult sometimes in the way that he vocalizes things, or he, hits things or gets frustrated, has this explosive behavior. I just wanted to get his shoes on to get out the fucking door. I had, in my head, I'm going, I've got to take the girls to school. It's raining, and I've got to get Lola to daycare, I've got to get Jessie to the school, and then I've got to be back for a meeting at this time, and I've got to get the dog to the vet. And there was this morning of like, why me? Why am I so alone in this? Like, can you kids just not get your fucking shoes on yourselves? Do I have to do it all, right? That big resentment, mental load. And I burst into tears, and I was putting my son's shoes on whilst he's kicking me, mind you. And my eldest came up the stairs, she's 14, and she looked at me like, fuck, like I think she was coming to have a go at me about something, or not a go at me because they don't have goes at me, but like, just be like, Kris, where's this? Like a problem that she could solve, right? She's walked up and she's been like, what's wrong? And I just looked at her, and for the first time I went, I work so hard for all 4 of you to like me every day. I want you all, this is going to make me cry, sorry. I want you all to like me because I love you so much. And sometimes I feel like I'm the bad guy because I have all these rules, and I want you guys to thrive in life. But just getting you ready is so hard sometimes, and no one helps. And no one's making it easier. I just need it to be easier. And this sucks. I'm just sad. And so I'm crying because I'm sad. And I wish it didn't feel this hard sometimes. And she was like, I'm sorry. And then my 4-year-old comes over and she starts like rubbing my back. And she's like, Mommy, wipe your tears away. It's okay, Mommy. Thanks, guys. And then I went downstairs, and my eldest had like cleaned the kitchen or done something really beautiful, and gave her a big cuddle. And she's like, I'm sorry, I made you cry. I'm like, no one made me do anything. I cried because I felt overwhelmed. Yeah. And even just vocalizing that, like you said, like I felt touched out, man. Like it's too much. All the fighting. Like, and add on, they were all fighting together all morning. Yeah. The house was chaos. I had so much to do. But just vocalizing that, and then being validated by your child in a healthy way, right? This is a healthy way to process an emotion. Show them how you feel. Show up and take responsibility for your feelings. Don't project it. There was no projecting there. That was me saying, I feel this because of X, Y, Z. Not, I blame you. It's your fault. Why aren't you better? Be better. Be, kinder to your siblings, or do this, do that. Clean the kitchen. I didn't say anything specific. It's like parenting is just hard, and I want you to like me.
And that kind of communication is how you should show up in your co-parenting too, because it's so true. The more authentic and the more truthful and honest you can be about what your experience is, and take it and say like, this is how I feel, and I take accountability for like what's going on for you, instead of being like, well, you fucking no.
like that's one thing that we've worked on massively in the co-parenting space is like just that actual genuine and honest communication that I feel like in some partnerships, like especially the more unconscious partnerships / toxic relationship, you don't feel safe enough to actually tell someone how you feel. You're like trying to tell them how you feel, but you're kind of like blaming. Yeah. So yeah, I guess like the more honesty you can bring around like how you're feeling and what's going on is just going to be better for everyone, all of you, your whole family.
Yeah. And guys, like I've been a stepmom now for like 7 or 8 years, and my second oldest is 12. She's in year 7, so almost 13. And because of the way that I've shown up in the way we communicate with them and the way that I speak about my feelings so openly, and I'm so vulnerable with how I feel, even if their dad and I have a disagreement, we show them when we make up. Yeah, we'll have a cuddle and we'll say like, sorry, I spoke to you that way. That wasn't cool. I'm feeling this because of this, right? We're really vocal with that. Yeah. And that's really important to me for the kids, that they witness and have evidence of a healthy relationship where they can vocalize how they feel, and that's met with a softness and love, right? And she's so emotionally intelligent, this little weapon, like this legend of a kid. I love spending time with her. Recently, she wanted me to go to the shops to get a bunch of different clothes. And I just didn't have time. So I'm like, no, but she's got a little like Spriggy card. Not sure if you've heard of this. Yeah, here's that sick. And I'm like, I'll put money on your card, babe. Go after school. I can get you at this time. And I thought I'd solved the problem. I'm like, here you go. And I expected in return. And there's something that I call a covert contract. So where it's an unconscious expectation and you're not actually communicating it. So the covert contract here at play was, I gave her what she wanted. I thought that'd be met with gratitude. And she was like, right, just full stop in text message, right, full stop. And I'm like, thanks, Kris. No worries, Kris. Just transfer money so that you can go get what you want. Like, where's the gratitude? And she's like, and the way that she wrote it was, I really appreciate that you've done that. But the point of it for me was that I got to do something just with you. And I really wanted to go shopping just with you and try on different clothes so you can tell me what you like and what you don't like, because I value your opinion.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, I raised someone so emotionally intelligent.
Wow.
You got me.
Wow, that's amazing.
I know. So, you know, how you talk to in every area of your life, your relationships, your co-parenting relationship, how you're meeting that standard in language, communication, boundaries. Like, let me tell you, my little girl who I came into her life when she was 4, like, this is a child that now has really high level conversations with me. When there's a covert contract on either way, we can have a communication where it's really healthy. And it lands for her. Like, she gets what I'm saying. So at 12 years old, I wish I had what she had. She's got little superpowers.
Oh, I love that. How special. One other little tip that I want to give when it comes to co-parenting and boundaries, guys, try and not fuck your ex. For the love of God. Like, it's going to make things really difficult for you. So it's like, you need to cut it off. So if you guys are separated, keep it that way, because emotions and tension and all that kind of stuff, everything is so much more heightened, especially for a woman. When we are intimate with someone, that is like, we are literally sharing our DNA, and it means so much more to the woman than it does to the man. Like, men don't need, a thank you text after, or don't, any of that, because women expect so much more. And even though you're like, oh, I just wanted the cuddle and the comfort and all this kind of stuff, you're actually doing yourself a disservice, because what you're actually doing is you're creating a really strong energetic cord to someone that you were trying very hard to cut off from. So you need to hold on to your boundaries. Okay, like, if you are going through the separation, you are trying to co-parent, think of the child, because I always think to myself, like, I would hate for Mila to have to go through this again with us. It was already so hard the first time. Imagine if, you were intertwined in like some weird situation.
Well, where like she wakes up and she's like, where's Dad in bed with Mum? Like, what a weird concept for her.
Yeah.
Huh? What's going on there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we still, like, don't get me wrong, we go on holidays all together, we're all together all the time, and we can all snuggle together and do all that stuff. But I think it's because now we've got a level of we really love each other as people and respect each other as people, because we can actually see the person behind what we saw for so long, like the nagging wife. Like, I'm not the nagging wife anymore. I'm just the really fucking wonderful family member who is a great mother. You know, and when I look at him, I see like a really great, oh no, I'm going to cry again. What is up with this episode? But I see like a really trustworthy father who I can lean on and who has my back with me, like no matter what. I don't need him to have my back with anything else because I've got my back. You know, he doesn't need me for anything else. The only thing we need from each other is for each other to show up the best way we can for our family, and we do that. And it's so important. But I'm telling you, if it was, because there always is going to be so much love with someone that you've loved for a really long time and share spawn with. So it's like, it does make it really messy if you are still intertwined. So even like, yeah, some of my clients are going through that thing and it's like, you know, he's telling me this and he's telling me that, and we're still kind of doing this together. And I'm kind of like still the housewife, but we don't live together and there's no, it doesn't look like we're getting back together. And I'm like, man, you don't want to be able to give someone their cake and, you know, and then also them not give you the commitment or fulfill your needs like you deserve. Like, you need to really hold yourself in such high regard when you do separate, and you need to start looking after yourself like you are the love of your life. You need to start loving yourself and going hard for yourself and setting boundaries and having integrity and just protecting your heart, because you can't crumble anymore. Yeah, you know, you really need to be that pillar of strength for you and your daughter or your son or your family, or just even if it's just you. No, we're talking about co-parenting. So yeah, definitely relatable, having kids. So yeah, it's just, that is one really good hot tip from me when it comes to boundaries and co-parenting.
And if it needs to be for a short amount of time at a point where you're not physically having to be, if you can't be amicable and you cannot do those drop-offs and pickups, and there is that energy that you don't want to sort of embody, reach out, ask for support.
Totally.
Get your needs to the people that love you. And and even if you need to say to them, hey, I don't want to do this or project this energy into our family. I'm going to have the kids go to McDonald's, they're going to have a play or wherever up out, and grandma's going to take them, and then I'll get you to grab them from her, or you can send someone that you love and trust. That's so fine too. It's just something that I think we need to do for the short term until we can be a little more healthier in the way that we're communicating. I want to protect their peace and just utilize that language and focus on setting that boundary for each other, because it is really easy to go, no, I need to do it, I'm not going to ask for support, or no, he should be able to not yell at me when I drop off over something that he's not happy with or whatever. But you're literally enabling the problem by not taking action and being intentional with the boundary. It's not forever, it's just for right now.
And space is golden. Like, honestly, have some space and you'll come back and, you know, you will feel so much better. It's crazy what just taking yourself away from like the situation, how much power that gives you back.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this will probably like push us into another conversation that we're going to have on another episode. But just to touch on it, what you're feeling around, like, you know, your love for him and the compassion that you currently feel to have for your ex and the trust that you have on him, I want you to really think and embody that part of how you feel when someone else comes along, because what can happen, those family holidays might shift a little bit. As much as it would be nice that they stay, it might shift for the woman coming in. She might not feel great about that, and that's something the way you.
Well, that's her problem.
See, hey, it's so easy.
That's
like, hey, yeah. You know, really just all the good things, all those qualities that you love, hold on to that.
Yes,
don't let go. Yeah. So when the triggers come, you're going to want them.
Yeah, and hopefully in this time I've done enough work on myself to just want the best for everyone.
You will.
Like, I'm hoping that my ego, like, I don't think I have an ego there, but we'll soon find out.
Well, I'll let you know, being like just our concept of self, right? So it's like, well, I see myself as someone that can do this holiday with this person. Why doesn't she want to go with me? Yeah, it won't be about that. It's not going to never be about that. So, you know, like, you have so many tools to go and be like, I'm going to reflect on this for a little bit before I dive into this conversation. But for someone listening, who is going to have that experience and might be doing the family stuff still, and then a woman comes in, or a man, and they're like, I'm not cool with this. They haven't done it before as well. So they're like, well, what do you mean? Like, in my experience, my parents didn't do that. Why do you guys have to do that?
Yeah.
There might be some different feelings and emotions coming into play. Take yourself away from it for a minute before you react or really respond to this, and find a way that is good for everyone. And then in particular, good for you and your child, because that's really at the end of the day all that's going to matter.
Yeah.
The rest can figure itself out.
Amen. Mindset, baby. Mindset. Well, thank you so much, my love. Honestly, girls, if you have any questions, send them through. Like, I'm always down for a chat. But when it comes to co-parenting, from someone who's had a bad experience from, witnessing it from my parents, to now going through it myself, I can say to you that it does not have to be as bad as what you think. It really doesn't. It's a choice. A choice that two people have to make for themselves. But honestly, if you guys can find that medium where you both just tunnel vision for what is best for the child, then you can't go wrong, and really utilize this time to go hard on your healing. Because honestly, you are two good people. It's just might not be two people that are good together.
Correct.
Amen. So yeah, it all works out in the end.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, you, my love. No worries. Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. If this landed for you, I would love if you can share this conversation to your socials, and don't forget to tag at Inside Out with Kris. Don't also forget to hit subscribe or follow so you don't miss next week's conversation. Bye.